A man convinced Microsoft and SoftBank to give him $1.5 billion for an AI that could build apps like ordering pizza. The AI was fake, the revenue was inflated by 300%, and nearly 1,000 people lost their jobs. This is the story of Builder.ai, one of the biggest AI frauds in history. A tale of artificial intelligence that was anything but artificial. Sachin Dev Duggal wasn't your typical tech founder. Born in London, educated at prestigious institutions, he had already founded several companies by his 30s. But Duggal had a bigger vision than his previous ventures. He saw a world where building software would be democratized, where anyone could create apps without coding. In 2016, he launched Engineer.ai with a mission that sounded almost magical. Duggal's pitch was seductively simple. Building apps should be as easy as ordering a pizza. No more waiting months for developers, no more technical jargon, no more massive budgets. Just describe your app idea in plain English, and artificial intelligence would build it for you. The AI would supposedly handle 80% of the development work automatically. Duggal claimed his platform could reduce app development time from months to hours. He compared it to revolutionary moments in history like the assembly line or the printing press. Investors were mesmerized by Duggal's charisma and his simple analogies. He didn't talk about neural networks or machine learning algorithms. Instead, he talked about cooking recipes, Lego blocks, and ordering takeout. These metaphors made artificial intelligence feel accessible, even inevitable. The first major investor to bite was Microsoft's venture capital arm. Then came SoftBank, the Japanese giant known for massive tech bets. Finally, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund joined the feeding frenzy. By 2019, Engineer.ai had raised over $250 million and was valued at $1.5 billion. Blue-chip clients started lining up. The BBC wanted AI-built apps for their digital transformation. The Virgin Group, Richard Branson's global empire, officially signed on to take part in several ambitious new projects. Even Qatari royalty commissioned apps for their government initiatives. Duggal had convinced the world that the future of software development had arrived, but behind the slick marketing and impressive client list, a different reality was unfolding. While Duggal promoted his revolutionary AI on stage, the actual work was happening in crowded offices across the globe. In Bangalore, hundreds of Indian developers worked around the clock writing code by hand. In Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnamese programmers debugged applications that AI supposedly created automatically. In Bucharest, Romanian engineers built user interfaces pixel by pixel. The artificial intelligence was actually 700 very real, very tired human beings. These developers were paid a fraction of what Western programmers earned. Meanwhile, clients paid premium prices for what they believed was cutting-edge AI technology. Inside Engineer.ai, employees described a cult-like atmosphere. Duggal insisted on being called the chief wizard and spoke in grandiose terms about changing the world. Questioning the AI narrative was discouraged, and dissenting voices were quietly pushed out. By 2018, some clients began to notice problems with their AI-built applications. Apps took longer to develop than promised, and the final products often had basic functionality issues. When clients requested modifications, the responses revealed human limitations, not AI capabilities. Some eagle-eyed developers noticed that the code structure looked suspiciously human-written. Tech journalists started asking harder questions about Engineer.ai's actual capabilities. The company's responses became increasingly vague and jargon-filled. In August 2019, the Wall Street Journal published a devastating investigation. Their reporters had spent months interviewing former employees and analyzing Engineer.ai's operations. The headline was brutal: Human Workers Power AI Technology Behind Startup's App. Former employees revealed that Engineer.ai's AI was mostly smoke and mirrors. The artificial intelligence was essentially a project management system that assigned tasks to human developers. One former employee told the Journal, "It's not AI, it's just outsourcing with extra steps." The story sent shockwaves through the tech industry and investor community. Duggal's response to the Wall Street Journal was swift but unconvincing. He claimed the Journal had misunderstood their technology and that AI was still central to their platform. But the damage was done. Clients started asking uncomfortable questions. Within months, Engineer.ai quietly rebranded itself as Builder.ai. They hoped a new name would help them escape the scandal. But changing the name couldn't change the fundamental deception. As Builder.ai tried to rebuild its reputation, investigators began digging deeper into their finances. What they discovered was even more shocking than the fake AI. By 2023, Builder.ai claimed they had generated $80 million in sales. But forensic accountants discovered the real revenue was only around $50 million. They had inflated their revenue by over 300% through elaborate accounting tricks. The scheme involved fake purchase orders and round-tripping transactions with shell companies. Money would leave Builder.ai, travel through several intermediary companies, then return as revenue. The company hadn't had a legitimate chief financial officer since 2024. Instead, their auditor was closely tied to Duggal personally, creating massive conflicts of interest. By 2025, the house of cards that was Builder.ai finally collapsed completely. Investigations by multiple regulatory agencies had uncovered fraud, money laundering, and systematic accounting manipulation. Nearly 1,000 employees were laid off as the company ran out of money and credibility. The revolutionary AI platform that promised to democratize app development was revealed as an elaborate fraud. Duggal was forced to step down from his role as CEO. But in a final act of delusion, he continued calling himself the Chief Wizards even after his resignation. The 700 engineers who had actually built the apps were left unemployed, their work credited to non-existent artificial intelligence. Today, Builder.ai exists only as a cautionary tale in business schools and fraud investigation textbooks. The investors who poured $250 million into the company lost nearly everything. Microsoft, SoftBank, and Qatar's sovereign wealth fund all wrote off their investments as total losses. The clients who paid premium prices for AI-built apps discovered they had funded an elaborate outsourcing operation. Duggal himself has largely disappeared from public view, though he occasionally surfaces at tech conferences to discuss business risks. The irony is palpable. A man who spoke about business risks became one of the biggest risks his investors ever took. The Builder.ai scandal exposed fundamental problems in how the tech industry evaluates AI companies. Investors were so eager to fund the next AI revolution that they forgot to verify the actual technology. Simple questions about how the AI actually worked were never properly answered. The story also highlights the human cost of AI washing, real developers doing real work, but receiving no credit. Builder.ai promised a future where artificial intelligence would democratize software development. Instead, it delivered one of the most spectacular examples of corporate fraud in the AI era, a cautionary tale of what happens when artificial intelligence becomes artificial deception. In the end, the most advanced technology turned out to be very elaborate smoke and mirrors. Sometimes the most human thing about artificial intelligence is the human greed behind it. If this shocking story of AI fraud fascinated you, subscribe for more incredible tales of startup disasters and corporate deception.